The Sudanese Professionals Association, the chief organizer behind the protests, is urging people to head to the sit-in and defend it from any new attempts by the military to disperse the demonstrators. Protesters remain defiant after an attempt to break up their sit-in. They've been here outside the Defense Ministry since April 6. After removing al-Bashir, the military council announced that it would be setting up a transitional military council to run the country for up to 2 years. But demonstrators have strongly rejected that plan.
Our first demand is the need to form a civilian sovereign council with aggressive representation for limited tasks. This council must have limited tasks, which are the tasks of sovereignty only.
At the army headquarters, crowds remained camped outside the complex despite spare warnings of an attempt to disperse the sit-in. And African Union threatened to suspend Sudan if military fails to hand over power to civilians within 15 days.
African Union would further appeal probably to all stakeholders right now on the ground that more now than ever is time to engage in an inclusive dialogue, to create the conditions that would make it possible to meet the aspirations of the Sudanese people for democracy and good governance and restore constitutional orders.
Witnesses say several army vehicles had surrounded the area of the sit-in and that the troops were seen removing barricades, which demonstrators had put as part of a security measure.
We are Sudanese. We are looking forward for justice, for freedom, for democracy. And we thank all our people, our youth, our women for this a great victory.
We not believe in them. We're still in our revolution. Our demands are not met, and we're not going to leave the Sudan until we get everything done. We hope that we can get civil government. We don't want any army government anymore in Sudan. We don't want the Islamic Party, the National Congress.
A 10-member delegation representing the protesters delivered a list of demands during talks with the council last weekend, according to a statement released by the Alliance for Freedom and Change umbrella group. The military council, however, has met with the political parties urging them to agree on an independent figure to be prime minister. Omar al-Bashir ruled Sudan with an iron fist for 30 years before he was deposed following mass protests that have rocked the country since mid-December. Bashir rose to power in a 1989 coup and has been one of Africa's long-term serving presidents. The United Nations Human Rights Office is calling on the military council to cooperate with the International Criminal Court, which has issued an arrest warrant for President Bashir for alleged war crimes committed nearly 15 years ago. World powers, including the United States, Britain and Norway, have issued a joint statement calling for inclusive dialogue to effect a transition to civilian rule and democratic governance, much sooner than 2 years. Meanwhile, thousands of people are vowing to continue their protests until a civilian government is established. Paul Ndiho, VOA News.